Okay guys, so this is video 2 for Friday, January 7th. So hopefully that last video wasn't too bad. You've tried the quiz and now we're moving on to the second portion. So we actually have a note sheet for the second portion. That is page 9. So if you wrote the other notes on page 7 where I wrote them, sorry, I need to pull up our screen. Then if you open your page to the next page, or open your paper, we're going to do this top part up here. Once we talk about or get through all of the problems for this portion of the notes, you'll know how to use your calculator to evaluate logs. So you can go back on this quiz and use your calculator to see if you got the right answers, especially if this is something you're struggling with or you watch the lesson video and you're like, I don't even know what she's saying. So there's a couple of things that we need to talk about before we start evaluating logs using our calculator. The first thing is this guy over here on the left. Now, I briefly mentioned this in the last video, and that is if you have a base 10 log, so you write log, and the little number that's next to the g is a 10, you can just write it as log instead. And the reason why is because it's the most common logarithm. We see the base 10 so often that we don't even need to write it anymore. And we see this frequently in math. So you don't need to write this next part down. I just want to show you. So if I asked you what is the square root of 36, hopefully you feel really comfortable with these after the work we've been doing. This would be 6. So 6 times 6 is 36. Now here's a different one. What if I asked you the cube root of 8? Well, this one's equal to 2 because 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 8. This one was 6 times 6 is equal to 36. Okay, what about the fourth root of 81? Well, this one would be 3 because 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 81. So the question is, if this has a number on the outside, so this is the fourth root, this one is the third root, well, what's this one? I know it's the square root. Well, this one has the number 2. So notice here, the answer is 6 because we had 2 6s. The answer here was 2 because we had 3 2s. The answer here was 3 because we had 4 3s. So that means whenever you see just regular square root with no number, we just assume, sorry, that's not 91. We just assume that it's the square root. It's the same with log base 10. Log base 10 is so common that we just write log. And when we see log, we have to know that it's base 10. The advantage of having a common log is that now on our calculator we have a log button. So right next to the 7 is our log button. So this is going to allow us to evaluate logs very easily. So on this first question from the last quiz, it wants to know what 3 log 100 is. I can now use my calculator to do that. I can type in 3, hit the log button, type in 100, and it will give me my answer of 6. Okay, the other one that I wanted to look at is what happens when you have log base E. So E is this really special number in math called Euler's number, and he's like pi. So E is like the number pi. He has a He's a repeating decimal that goes on forever. So for instance, if I type in pi on my calculator, hopefully everybody's pretty familiar with pi. It gives you 3.14159, blah, 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 going on forever. Well, E is the same. E is 2.718, blah, 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 going on forever. So E is almost just as popular as pi is. They're both just special numbers. So if you have log with a base E, so we're saying log and the base is that special Euler's number, then you can just rewrite it as the natural log of E. And the reason, the natural log of X. The reason why you can do this is because I guess I should say the reason it's called the natural log is because E represents natural growth. So if you've taken advanced science classes, hopefully you're familiar with the number or letter E. If you're talking about anything that grows, any living thing that grows or decays, the growth rate or the number that models the growth the best is E, this special letter. So that's why we call this the natural log, because it represents, or E I should say, represents natural growth. So we get lucky on this one too, because there is a button for natural log. There's a button for natural log. So now we have a button for log and a button for natural log. So on the next 8 problems, it says to us, evaluate the logarithm. So for A, all I have to do is hit my log button, type in 6.29, hit enter, and I see my answer. So if you know how to round, round. If you don't know how to round, just write the first 4 decimals. So if you're rounding correctly, number 1 would be 0.7987. Okay, you pause the video and do log 33 and write down what you think it is. All you have to do is hit log 33, enter. Okay, hopefully you really did the thing. This one is 1.5185. Okay, letter C. Super easy. Natural log 40. So natural log is next to the 4. So we type in natural log 40, we get 36889. So now you pause the video and hit natural log 7, write down the numbers, and just verify that you get it right. Okay, 19459. Easy. Next problem, log base 7 of 46. Well, crap. How do I get that 7 into the calculator? Because log has a base 10, and notice it doesn't allow me to enter in the base number because it is assuming the base number is 10. Well, up here we have this formula that says, oh, if we need to evaluate a log that has a base, we need to use this fraction. And what this fraction tells us is that we put the log of the number in the top, log 4.6, and we divide it by the log of the base in the bottom. So we have to do a division problem now. We would type in log 4.6, end our parentheses, so make sure you close your parenthesis, divide by log 7, end your parenthesis, enter, and we get 7842. 7842. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I don't really want to have to make fractions out of all of these ones that have a different base than 10. So there is a shortcut in your calculator. The buttons that you hit are, so I'm going to write it on top of this. Instead of using the change of base formula, you can use the button Math and then hit your arrow up twice. You hit Math, up, up. So if I hit my Math button and I hit the arrow up twice, you should see this option, log base. So Math, up, up. Hit enter, and now it'll let us type in log base 7 of 4.6. We end up getting the same exact answer that we got with the fraction. So same on log base 5 of 45. Hit Math, up, up, enter, 5 of 45. This one is 2.3652. So now on this worksheet, you can go through and verify that your answers are right, or actually do this worksheet if you didn't understand what I was telling you in the first video. So to enter in number 2, you would hit log, just kidding, you would hit Math, up, up, enter, log 2 of 64, arrow out of the parenthesis, plus Math, up, up, log base 2 of 2. So that answer is 7. I wasn't, oh, nope, sorry, I typed in the wrong thing. My bad. This should have been, let me fix it. Log, so Math, up, up, 3 of 27. And then I would hit enter, which I'm not going to do because I want to know that you can either plug these in or do it on your own. Okay, so to finish up the work that you're doing for the day, the only thing that I want to tell you is that don't forget you have a log button and you have a natural log button. So you only need to do Math, up, up for these ones that have a different base. If it just says log, you have a button for it. Log 8. If it says ln, you have a button for that. Natural log 0.3. So don't forget, you have the buttons for the common ones, log and natural log. If it has a different base, then you have to hit Math, up, up. So I'm just going to quickly fill in those numbers. G was 9031. And H was negative 1204. Or you could write 2039. So that's it for today. Make sure that you turn in both quizzes before you go, because like I said, my sub is going to make sure that I get all the work that you're doing so that I can grade it over the weekend. Okay. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on